Hello, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about tips for dressing vintage in the summer. One of the trickiest things to figure out when I was first starting to dress vintage was dressing for the climate. How to keep warm when it's cold out and how to keep cool when it's hot out. So today we're going to be talking about the different methods that I use to keep cool when dressing vintage during the summer. Number one, pay attention to fiber content. That is what your clothes are made of. Materials like cotton and linen are much more breathable, so clothes made of cotton and linen will definitely help you keep cool. Paying attention to fiber content is helpful no matter what style you dress in, but with vintage style, I think that it's especially important. Whether you're dressing in some sort of Victorian style or the 1950s, there's usually a lot of layers. There's petticoats, blouses, skirts, sweaters, and all kinds of things in between. On most pieces of clothing there are two tags, one that shows you what company the clothing is from, and another that shows you how to care for the piece of clothing. This second tag usually also has the fiber content of your garment. So I usually check the fiber content of a piece of clothing before I buy it at the thrift store, or also if I'm buying a piece of fabric from the thrift store to make my own clothes. Number two, light layers throughout the year. This connects to what I wear in the colder seasons. To avoid needing to have basically entirely different wardrobes for cool weather and hot weather, in the winter I really like to wear lots of light layers. This includes petticoats and layering shirts and wearing sweaters. This means that when the hotter weather comes around, I can still wear the same clothes, only layer less of them. For example, this dress is very light material, and in the winter I can wear it with a petticoat and a sweater, and then in the summer I can just wear it by itself. Number three, using a parasol. This is something I've only started doing quite recently, but when I go outside I've started to use a parasol. This gives you some shade and keeps you cool if you do decide to wear a few more layers. Currently what I've been using as a parasol is actually just a normal umbrella, but I think I might recover it sometime and turn it into a more pretty vintagey sort of parasol. And while the lacy parasols that have the sort of holes in them are really pretty, I recommend finding one that doesn't have holes in it in any capacity, just because then it'll actually protect you from the sun more. Number four, ditching the petticoats. This is a little more relevant if you dress in a more 1950s style. We usually associate the 1950s with the new look, as it was called, created by Dior in 1947. The very floofy skirts due to the petticoats underneath. But if you actually look at pictures from the 1950s, a lot of people didn't wear petticoats on a daily basis. And a lot of the time, if they did wear a petticoat, it was just a simple cotton petticoat that didn't have a lot of volume. Part of the purpose for wearing petticoats that don't actually change the silhouette of your outfit is to create a separation between you and your clothes. This allows you to not need to wash a dress or a skirt for longer, and you can just wash the petticoat and switch it out for a different one. But especially in the summer in the 1950s, a lot of people didn't wear any petticoats at all. This is in large part because petticoats are just another layer that really will start to heat you up. Number five, getting a vintage swimsuit. In the summer, a lot of people really like to go swimming for obvious reasons, but if you'd like to carry out your vintage style a little bit more, I'd really recommend getting a vintage styled swimsuit or making one yourself. Other things like play suits, which we now call rompers, were very popular in the 1940s and 50s, especially for things like going to the beach. They wouldn't generally be worn on just a regular day. If you're going to the grocery store or just going out on the town, you probably wouldn't wear a play suit because it's a little bit more scandalous than people generally considered appropriate in the 1940s and 50s. However, if you are having a playful day in the sun, a play suit is a wonderful way to get a 40s and 50s style into your wardrobe while keeping cool. And last but not least, number six, doing research. I've said it before, I'll say it again, doing research on historical clothing is incredibly important and very helpful if you want to have a vintage style. Looking at vintage fashion ads and vintage magazines is a wonderful way to get fashion inspiration for any season. If you're interested in getting some more historically accurate styles into your wardrobe, you can go as specific as a particular month within a particular year. Looking online, places like Pinterest are really great for getting old fashion plates, or you can even find an actual vintage magazine like this Elle magazine that I have to find some inspiration. So doing research is a great way to figure out exactly what was in style at the eras that you like, and also find out how they used to keep cool. So if you are interested in starting to dress vintage this summer, or you live in a hot climate, I really hope this helped you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment, rate, subscribe, and all that jazz, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! I can't speak. I can't speak. What was I gonna say? I actually totally forgot.